Yeah, thank you very much indeed for joining Piers Morgan Uncensored. My first question for you, I guess, is an obvious one. What do you hope to achieve from our conversation?
That right there, being uncensored. In American media, it's very censored. It feels like an episode of Black Mirror a lot of times. So I've put myself across the line, the point of no return, saying, hey, I know they're going to say whatever they want about me. When I bring up the truth, they're going to say, you didn't get enough sleep. It's because of your health. They're going to call me names for my truth. But these experiences that I'm telling you about are factually things that I've went through and things that I refuse to keep going through and things that I'm not going to let my children go through and things that I'm not going to let my peers go through. No pun intended.
Well, look, we are most certainly uncensored on this show, and I want to give you the time and the platform to really explain yourself, because I think that sometimes sound bites about people, perhaps taken out of context sometimes, can create a very distorted view of what a person really thinks. What do you think, looking back over the last few weeks in particular, what do you think have been the biggest misconceptions about you?
Well, I think there's a left agenda to silence anyone that goes against the agenda. Let's go back to Trump running for office back in 2015. Everyone that was around me in my industry, in the entertainment industry, told me that my life would be over. I would be on the wrong side of history. I've even had threats to my life for wearing the Trump hat. And it even ended up in, destroying my family and also making it where I have to raise my children differently because I actually am a person that's classified as Black. I classify myself as Jew, but a person that's classified that had been given that title in America as Black, in America, that I'm supposed to stay in a block of a vote. You never heard the term white vote. So why is there a term Black vote? How is that okay? It sounds just as racist as a Black drinking fountain. And my dad, called me and said, the thing that the left fear about Ye or makes me the most dangerous is I'm rich. And that's the point. Tupac told me back in the days, you had to get your money right and then you go to war. So I'm going to war. I don't have endless resources. I only have maybe, honestly, only maybe $120 million in my account. But what I'm not going to let happen is I'm not going to let my kids take over Yeezy someday and have a boardroom telling them what to do and talking behind their back. I'm not going to let that happen to my children. So I have to fight right now. And the other powerful icons in Black music, when they were at the top of the game, they didn't fight at that point. They were too afraid of losing whatever they had. So by the time they wanted to make a difference, by the time Bill Cosby wanted to buy NBC, he didn't have the Cosby Show at that time to be able to stand up when they wanted to literally throw him in jail, where they actually did throw him in jail. So people have to understand just the bravery. There's so many people everywhere. I know everyone can relate to being afraid to say what you're going to feel because you feel like you're going to lose something. So whether you agree with me or not, I believe people are going to feel the fact that someone is brave enough to say something. Every day I do 5 things that people have been historically killed for. Every day. And it's just, I want to prove, first of all, I am Jew also. The 12 lost tribes of Hebrew. Do the math. Do your research on it. We have got our culture ripped from us and then told we were just simply void of color, which is another definition for Black. But if we knew we were a culture and knew we were a people, the way the Jewish people know, then we wouldn't abort ourselves. We wouldn't shoot each other dead in the streets and then rap about it. We wouldn't brag about, having sex with each other's wives. We would keep our families together and we would do business together. The most dangerous place for a black person in America is actually in our mother's stomachs, because 50% of black deaths a year in America is abortion currently. I mean, I can keep going, but I want to make it, hey, boom, ask me questions, let's go.
I don't want to jump in too much, because here's what I honestly think. I think you have an extraordinary mind. You have a number of extraordinary talents. You're a musical genius. You're a fascinating public figure. What has been interesting to me is to watch the furore which has erupted in the last few weeks over a series of statements that you've made, which have caused, as you know, a lot of offence. And I guess before I get into them, I'm just curious as to whether you think there is a line for free speech. Listen, I completely agree with you that there is a war against free speech, that people are treading on eggshells all the time, terrified of expressing honestly held opinions in case they get cancelled. I think we're living in a really insidious era where liberals are behaving like fascists. So on that, you have absolutely my agreement. But my question for you is, do you believe there are limits to free speech? And if they are, what are they?
There are no limits to free speech. It's all context, right? Tarantino can write a movie about slavery where actually him and Jamie, they got the idea from me, because the idea for Django, I pitched to Jamie Foxx and Quentin Tarantino as the video for Gold Digger. And then Tarantino turned it into a film. But in that film, he puts a context, he creates a context where Leonardo DiCaprio is allowed to use the word multiple times within that context. So Hollywood's job is to frame things, and they allow what context, what content is accepted and what's not. We have our thoughts. Everyone has thoughts and ideas, and then people try to manipulate your thoughts and ideas. In order for humanity to move forward, we have to be free to think and then to actualize. I like the word actualize better than execute. If you think about execute's a negative word, actualize to be more positive, except for the fact that it has the word act in it, and everyone's an actor, especially in Hollywood. I'm like top 5 writers in human history, so I really get into the power of words, and I feel very akin to Capote, Freud, Nikola Tesla, Da Vinci, Matisse, more Matisse than Picasso, more African cubism than Matisse. So I just do that. I throw out that kind of for the liberals. And that's the funny thing. It's like liberals
let me hold you up on that.
Me.
On Matisse, when you say you're more Matisse than Picasso, as somebody who's a fan of Matisse and Picasso, actually, I spent a lot of time in Saint-Tropez where they all used to paint together. Why do you say Matisse? What is it about Matisse that you feel an affinity with?
I feel like Drake is more Picasso and Ye is more Matisse. When me and Drake went to do the show last year for prison reform and to bring awareness to the incarceration of Larry Hoover, I sent him articles about the relationship of Matisse and Picasso and the need for these people. You need to have that. I need to go into the bar and go to Starbucks. That's a form of a modern day bar, right? And just hear Drake's song playing back to back. And Drake needs to go into that same Starbucks just in a different city and see people wearing Yeezys. And it puts us both back into the studio. And, God sets up these almost similar characters, these doppelgangers. It makes me really realize God has a sense of humor. Like, why is John Galliano and Mark Jacobs the exact same human being, just placed in a different place? Or why does God have it where Bernard Arnault cannot purchase Gucci, not even through the Chinese market? God does this to remind us that we are not God. Because when you take people like Elon Musk and Bernard Arnault and Trump or Jack Ma, Putin, you take these people in their own space, in their own environments, you know, we can start to feel like gods on earth, but we are nothing in comparison to God. And we are here actually to love one another and to collaborate and to make the world a better place. There's, 1% of the world are placed in power and 99% of the world are the audience. So that 1% of the world, this idea of a United Nations, this is the world that needs to come together. This is the world that, here's the obvious go-to. Biden doesn't listen to Elon Musk. The president of the United States does not have meetings with Elon Musk. That is, hey, here, come get me. That's retarded. I know I'm not supposed to say that, Biden, but that's retarded, Biden. And it's, and obviously, because I've been dealing with mental health, all this, I have the right to use whatever words that I like to use.
Well, that's interesting.
Ask another question.
Well, yeah, let me ask you on that. So you just said something very inflammatory about President Biden. It will, as you know, offend a lot of people. Yeah. And it will particularly offend people who work in mental health. You say you should not use a word like retarded. But you say that because you yourself have had mental health issues, that entitles you to use that kind of word as an insult. Now, I would say that's an arguable point.
I've had my issue is I've had mental health allegations.
So do you believe that you have any form of mental illness?
Nourish your gut with Benefiber.
I believe that I suffered from exhaustion. I suffered from being lied to constantly by the people around me. And I believe those things can drive anyone to a point of maximum exhaustion. But I also believe that I'm extremely brilliant and I'm here to make the world a better place. And I'm tired of the left media trying to pick on me. And y'all picked on me enough. And y'all finally touched the person that's not going to take it anymore. And that's part of the reason why I'm on Uncensored, because what they'd like is for me to be quiet. Interesting thing about racism and cancel culture, it's kind of similar, right? Racism works on itself. I can go into the Gucci store at age 18 and I just assume that people think that I'm about to steal, so I buy more things. With cancel culture, when I brought Marilyn Manson on stage with me when he was dealing with allegations, my stepbrother Marilyn was canceling himself. So many people comment on my White Lives Matter t-shirt. There's people who are saying right there in Fashion Week, when are you going home? I'm so afraid. People thought I was going to cancel myself. I'm not going to cancel myself. I'm going to keep on delivering what I feel, because guess what? It's very split opinions, by the way. If I talk to a black person that makes under $1 million a year, they really relate to the George Floyd comments and feel hurt that I would even bring it up and question the approach. They have multiple documentaries on the death of JFK, but we're just supposed to believe this one media outlet version that preyed on our trauma and our pain. And then if I talk to rich black people or white people, Jew or Catholic or atheist, they're really into the Jewish media comment because it affects their business interests.
Okay, well, look,
and it was really interesting.
Let me just pick you up on the two things you've mentioned. The first one is what you said about George Floyd. And the reality of that, it's not a media interpretation of how he died, because the Hennepin County Chief Medical Examiner concluded that Floyd died from cardiopulmonary arrest. His heart stopped, complicated by the way the police restrained him and compressed his neck. Now, he also said there were other contributing conditions.
Wait.
Well, hang on, let me finish. There were other contributing conditions, narrowed arteries, high blood pressure, and fentanyl intoxication. But although these were significant conditions, he said, and things that played a role in the death, they didn't directly cause the death. The cause of death was what that policeman did with his knee to George Floyd.
What makes you believe that person?
Well, why would a coroner lie?
What makes you believe that?
Why would a coroner lie?
Because he could get paid to lie.
Yeah,
because he could get paid to lie. Because he's
I
talking
watched
in the
it.
press.
I watched it for 8 minutes.
The majority of the press.
Right, but I watched it for 8 minutes.
Now tell me this: have you seen the Candace Owens BLM documentary?
I have watched some of that documentary, but here's what I would say to you: when you watch that video of George Floyd,
no, it's not a but. It's not.
Well, I haven't watched the whole thing.
I need you to watch.
I know.
Okay,
I know what you said about. I know Candace.
I'm going to finish. La la.
It's all right.
La.
You don't
Okay,
have
you
to
know
do
what
that.
Means.
It's fine. I know what it means.
La 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 means be quiet and let me finish.
Right, but you did interrupt my question.
So with the BLM. No, I wasn't finished. You're pressing agenda. You haven't seen the whole thing.
I don't have an agenda. I just read you what the coroner said.
So we can have 20 different perspectives on how JFK died, but us as black people, not only can we only vote one way, we're not allowed to have any other perspectives, and that the area for George Floyd, where he passed, the murder rate is up 50%, and nothing, this is so-called movement, but it didn't move blacks anywhere.
Right, now listen.
So as a black person.
I will say there are legitimate questions about the Black Lives Matter movement, no question. But on the specific point about how George Floyd died, I don't think it's in question about what actually killed him. It was that police officer with his knee on his neck.
Well, it is in question. It isn't question. I'm questioning it.
Well, you can
as
question
a black
it, but
person
what you're questioning is a coroner report.
Do you have friends that were killed by police officers? Do you have friends that were locked up? Do you have people aborting half your race? No. So I am the black person with the black experience that's worth $11 billion and is the most influential person on the planet. And I am questioning it.
Okay.
I have a right to question it.
Absolutely.
You can't tell me with your accent that me as an American Jew black person that I cannot question that death and question the means behind that was put on camera.
I'm not saying you
to
can't
traumatize. I'm not finished. La 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 means let me finish.
Okay.
I'm not finished talking. So I cannot. See, because you distract my thoughts and then you try to make me look like a crazy person and you feel you have the right to cut me off. And I've proven you guys don't want it with me. This is like Terminator 20. You've never seen this before. So I want no one to play with me. Mm-hmm. I have the right to question because that videotape was used to traumatize my people and force us into the Democratic vote. Hey, George Soros, you're a real competitor. I respect you. I'm worth more money than you, and I have more influence than you, and have, Piers Morgan from a different country saying, well, I'm not going to do an English accent because that would be racist. I'm funny, by the way.
That's fine. I know you can do that. As I said to you, the show is uncensored, yay. You can say what the hell you like, right? But that doesn't mean I can't pick you up on a few things, right? You accept that.
I accept that, but you try to say, it is unquestionable because this one Dr. Fauci said this. I know it wasn't Dr. Fauci, but I'm just giving an example where we hear from even Google. Like people feel like, if you Google it, it's factual. There's so much non-factual information about me on Google, but then I still believe Google. And people pay to get certain information to the top of Google. But this is good. Keep going. Where else you want to go with it?
Here's where I want to go. The civil rights lawyer Lee Merritt responded to what you said about George Floyd's death and said, while one cannot defame the dead, the family of George Floyd is considering suit, which they're now doing, as you know, they're suing you for $250 million, for Ye's false statements about the manner of his death, claiming Floyd died from fentanyl, not the brutality established criminally and civilly, undermines and diminishes the Floyd family's fight. So what is your response to that?
Well, anybody who loses a loved one, my heart goes out to them. Any race, my heart goes out to the pain of that. I have a theory about it. Now, this is not a fact. This is a feeling that I have. In the documentary, George Floyd's 2 roommates said that George kept saying, they want a tall guy like me. They want a tall guy like me. So for me, I'm a creative, right? I can like make a dinosaur out of a femur, right? So if I'm making a dinosaur out of a femur and I'm looking at a documentary that says George Floyd was telling his 2 roommates they want a tall guy like me, and on the day of his death, he prayed for 8 minutes. They said he prayed longer than he ever prayed. What do you think, me as a creative mind, the beautiful mind, right, the sensitive mind, what do you think I feel could have happened in that situation?
All right. Well, honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I would say that because of your brilliant, beautiful, creative mind, as you put it, and I don't dispute that at all, you've got an extraordinary mind. And I can see that in the way that you conduct interviews. You go off on very long tangents, but they're sort of fascinating. I find it fascinating to listen to you. I'm not saying you don't have a right to question.
Sort of, quite. Yeah. These are like Capote level fascinating tangents.
No, they're not. They're not. I'm just saying it's the way you conduct yourself, and I think that's very interesting.
What do you mean? Or not? Why is it? Oh, it's not Capote level.
Actually, I
think
you
Capote level.
If you
sort of.
If you would like me to compare you to Truman Capote, I am happy to do that. Yay. If you want to be known as the new Capote, okay. I'm with you, okay? I'm not going to question your talent. Your talent, to me, is completely unquestionable, right? When you question
answer the question about the femur to the dinosaur.
No, I'm going to ask you a different question.
Situation.
I'm just going to ask you this.
You're not. You're gonna. I didn't finish my question.
Well, hang on. You can't tell me.
You answer my question.
You can't
first.
tell me what questions to ask you. You accept that I'm the interviewer.
You to answer my question. No, I said answer my question. No, I'm interviewing you too.
Well, you can't interview me. It's my interview.
You're Bono. I'm interviewing you too. See, that's the way we rap.
Let me just. You know what I'm saying? Let me just put this to you.
So no. You're trying to avoid. You're trying to avoid.
No. La. To put quite a phrase. You're interrupting me now.
I'm going to get back to it.
All right, you can, but let me ask you.
Because you haven't answered my question.
Here's my question for you, which you haven't answered.
No, I'm not. Don't answer my question with a question.
Yeah.
I'm not answering anything to you.
I'm going back to my original question in a way, which is simply this. I'm not saying you don't have a right to question how George Floyd died, but given the world watched that horrifying video of that policeman's knee on his neck, and given that is what the coroner said caused his death, albeit he had other underlying conditions, including fentanyl intoxication, when the family see someone like you, who's hugely influential, you're known around the world, questioning how their loved one died, they find that very hurtful, which is why they're now suing you for it. And my question for you is, do you understand the pain that sometimes your comments can cause, like this circumstance with George Floyd's family?
Now, I'm going to ask you a question again.
At Domino's, you can get any 2 medium, 2-topping pizzas for $6.99 each, or lava cakes, bread bites, and more.
With my imagination, when you see in the documentary that George Floyd's 2 roommates he said they want a tall guy like me, they want a tall guy like me, and that he prayed extra long on the day of his passing, where do you think that takes my beautiful mind?
I think it can take you to a place where you want to believe something which may not be true. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying all the evidence points. I'm giving you an honest answer. My honest answer is I think that
That wasn't honest. That was a political
my honest belief is that.
What do you guys do? People in the newsroom, what are they doing? They're like cringing right now. They're like, whoa.
No.
We never experienced this before.
We
never experienced
I'm not cringing.
A black entertainer that won't be threatened by the media to back down from his opinion.
Yeah, I think you mistake me. You mistake me for somebody who's going to be like the others. I have a show called Uncensored for a reason. I'm giving you a platform for a reason.
But you're pressing an agenda.
No, I'm not. You're perfecly entitled to your opinions.
Your agenda.
But do you accept
you're lying now?
Do you accept you may not always be right?
I just called you a liar. How does that make you feel?
That's fine if you think I'm a liar. It's fine.
No, you're a liar. You're pressing the agenda of the pain and trauma economy that is pressed on my people by the left.
Actually, the trauma I think that was implemented to George Floyd was from a vile white racist police officer who kneed him to his death. And I agree with the coroner's findings because I don't see any reason why the coroner would invent that. So that's my belief. If you want to challenge that and you don't believe it, that's entirely your right.
I have a question. Who do you think are the biggest vile white racist? The media.
You think the media is racist?
What? Please, next question. Please don't ask me any retarded questions.
Okay, let me go to the next furore, which has been around you in the last couple of weeks, which is your attacks.
Is that British for theory? Is that British for theory? What's theory, bro? Is that British for theory?
You actually have quite a good British accent. That's quite good. Let me ask you, if I can, about the allegations that you have made anti-Semitic comments. And in particular, when you said on Instagram, I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Now, many people who are Jewish found that deeply offensive. They wanted to know, what did you mean by going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people? Because DEFCON 3, as you know, is a heightened state of awareness for military action. So what did you mean by that? Here's your chance to clarify what you meant by DEFCON 3 on Jewish people.
Well, thank you for allowing me to say what I meant due to the fact that I was blocked by Jewish people after I said that. So I wasn't actually allowed to say what I was about to say. But what I was going to say is, I was going to talk about all of the contracts, all of the misdealings that I dealt with as an entertainer. Being that I'm an entertainer, I've been wronged so many times by Jewish businessmen. And the reason why I say people, if a black man is caught in the car with drugs or a gun, and there's 3 other black guys in the car with him, guess what? They're all going to jail. So the reason why I say people is I want those businessmen's wives and fathers, mothers, grandmothers, and kids to ask them, why is Ye so mad at us? Because they're taking money out of my children's mouths and putting it into their children's mouths. I'll give you this parallel and this analogy. If you take, I just talked to Irina Shayk, right? And if you look at a picture of her at age 14, this person is beautiful, like one of the most beautiful people that God has ever created, right? And if any man did her wrong at a young age, she would get to the point where maybe she would actually hate men. You've heard that terminology, right? So I'm at a point where I'm frustrated. I have the right to my anger, and I'm saying that people need to fix it. I'm not going to fix what I feel until what I'm feeling is fixed.
Okay, can I respond?
You're not just going to shut me up and say...
No, I'm not going to shut you up. Can I respond to what you just said? My problem with what you've said, I'll be straight with you, is that if I, as a white man, posted tomorrow on my Instagram, I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on black people, what would you think?
Jew.
No, if I said black people, what would you think? If that was what I posted?
Well, did you accept that black people... You accepted that black people are Jew? Or
I'll come to that in a moment. On the specific, though, if I simply said, in other words, all black people was the implication of what I said, I would get rightly cancelled. I would get rightly vilified and abused. You, I suspect, would be outraged by a white person saying such a thing, because you wouldn't make any distinction about whether I was talking about certain black business people I'd fallen out with or whatever. You would think I was judging an entire populace by the colour of their skin. You are, by saying Jewish people, on Jewish people, you're not saying Jewish businessmen, accountants, whatever, that you've had a problem with. You're basically saying in that statement, all Jewish people, which is why it caused such offence. And I'm curious whether you, even as you wrote those words, understood what Jewish people actually would feel when you said that and didn't make any specific references to any individuals.
Maybe they would feel how all my people have felt. Maybe they would feel the pain of when a black artist looks up and they've completely been raped by 5 Jewish businessmen. And there's multiple accounts.
Why does the fact that they're Jewish have anything to do with it?
Maybe they would feel like that.
But why would you say
it just so happens they are.
Well, okay, but why categorize them according to their religious faith, their ethnicity? Why would you do that? Why can't you just describe them as business people that you've dealt with? That's fine, but what you're doing by saying Jewish people, these constant tirades, against Jewish people, many people find
why
that...
Why are you calling it a tirade? That sounds like you have it...
I think it's a tirade.
Where's the tirade? That was a tweet. It was a tweet.
It's not just a tweet,
and you asked me to explain it. And that... Have you felt my pain yet? You haven't felt my pain. You don't want to feel my pain.
Well, no,
you don't hold You don't hold accountability to my pain. You're being a Karen.
I'm talking about... I'm not a Karen.
To the pain.
I'm not a Karen, and I'm not going to cancel you, and I'm not going to uncensor you. I'm simply going to challenge you on what you're saying. I think you don't understand the pain that you've been causing with some of these comments. And I think that one in particular, I can understand...
Oh, my God. God forbid, one comment could cause people to feel any of the pain that my people have went through for years. Even like the blacks being ushered to the left during the civil rights movement. No one has cared about black people.
All right.
No one is...
Let me say, I agree that the racism against black people has been utterly deplorable, shameful, unacceptable. And thank God the world is beginning to move to a better place about the way it has treated black people like you. However, one form of racism doesn't justify...
it's almost in a better place.
Well, one form of racism doesn't justify another.
It's not a better place.
I'm not cutting you off. I'm finishing my sentence so you can respond. One form of racism... It is racism when you say I'm going DEFCON for Jewish people. That's racism.
No, it's not.
It is.
I thought you had a platform where I could explain how I felt. You don't care about how I feel. You just want to shut me up. You don't want me to say out loud what my people have been going through.
I do.
Or do you?
I do. I'm very happy to do that.
So what have my people have been going through? What led me to that point?
My point is...
What led me, a person, a successful, influential, extremely attractive person to get to that point?
I am not doubting for a moment that you will feel genuine pain about the racism against you and other black people in America. Not for 1 second would I deny that.
Racism by who?
Well, by anybody. I think any form of racism is wrong. Any form of racism is wrong.
I didn't say DEFCON on anybody though.
You said DEFCON 3 on Jewish people, specifically Jewish people. You didn't say any particular Jewish person. You said basically all of them. That is racism, And I think if you were honest with yourself, given the fallout from this, you would think again about how you phrased that sentence. Because actually, you didn't mean all Jewish people.
Given the fallout. Do you
care about the hurt you caused Jewish people?
What fallout?
Well, you were removed from social media.
Wait a second. You're not allowing me to talk, Chris. You're not allowing me to talk, Chris. Oh, I thought it was the same person.
He's American. I'm British.
So the thing is, I want to bring joy to the world. I'm a composer, right? And this is a symphony. Our life is a symphony. We have so many beautiful ideas, but I feel the anti-Semite has been a wall, a cloak that allows Jewish businessmen, boom, I'll only be the police officer that says, hey, this guy with the gun is the only person going to jail. I'll be the first person that does that in history, right? So look, no one else in this car riding with the guy with the gun and the drugs is going to jail. Are you happy? I'll play by rules that are not played by from my people, just for the sake of this conversation.
I don't want you playing by any.
So
I don't want you playing by any.
That makes you happy, right?
I don't want you to say things just to make me happy.
That's what colonizers do, is give us rules.
I'm not trying to
that's
colonize
what colonizers
you.
do, is give us rules.
I'm not trying to colonize you. I'm not trying to censor you. All I'm saying to you is, when you use a phrase, like I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people.
Did you hear what I just said, though?
Yes, I did.
We're past that. We're past that in a conversation.
Hang on. We're not past it.
Did you hear what I just said?
We're not past it unless you're prepared.
Are you happy that I said I'll focus?
Let me explain what I. Let me
Are
explain.
you happy that I said?
I know. I heard what you
Whoa, brother! Why are you talking over me?
Let me respond.
Chris.
I'm Chris. Let's respond. Let me respond, right? I'm simply saying what you've just said is not what you said on your Instagram post, and you know it, right? If you have a problem with particular businessmen who happen to be Jewish, that is a concern for you.
And you know it.
So you talk about all Jewish people.
But brother, what is the point? Brother, do you want me to grow from the statement? I just told you, okay, I was in a position where I've been hurt, and this is the way I had the right to express myself. The point of this interview is for you to question me, and then for me to answer and say, okay, even though the same rules are not applied to my people, if a person with a gun or drugs is pulled over and has three other people in the car, they're all going to jail. I'm not going to apply that to Jewish people for the sake of this conversation. Isn't that what you wanted? But you know what you did? You tried to civil rights me. You tried to pull me back to a week ago. But we're here today. There's been plenty of conversations and commentary since that. But you want me to go back to 1960.
No.
You want me to go back to 7 days ago.
All right, let me jump in. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to reflect.
Okay, so have we grown? Have we grown?
Here's how we grow. Yeah, here's how we grow. I want you to reflect.
No, have we grown?
Have
we grown? You're not in charge of my growth. You're not in charge of my growth, Chris.
Okay, let me phrase it like this. I'm about to suggest to you how you may grow if you choose to grow this way. And you can ignore me. You can ignore me.
Pierce, how much money are you worth?
Not as much as you, sadly.
Exactly. So take my advice. Maybe you'll get richer.
I would love to take your business advice.
Why would I listen to you?
Why don't you hear what my advice is and then work out if I'm wrong? Can we do that deal?
You haven't given me any credit or a moment of reflection for the comparison that I made, the brilliant, if I do say so myself, comparison that I made to the cops pulling over one black person and locking everyone up.
I understand what you're saying.
And my tweet having issues. Wait a second, I wasn't done with the sentence. My tweet referring to all Jewish people, I said, for the sake of this conversation, I will refer to the business people who have destroyed me and my people and my fellow creatives. But you didn't even accept that I gave you that. You tried to push me back into 1960.
No, I didn't.
You tried to push me back into last week.
No, I didn't.
Okay, do you accept that example that I gave you?
I understand completely the example you gave me. I think all racism is wrong.
So I feel that we've grown.
I would like you to reflect.
I feel that we've grown. Do you feel we've grown?
If you've now changed what you wanted to say originally, my question for you is, do you now regret saying DEFCON 3 on Jewish people? Are you sorry you said that?
No.
I think it matters. You should be.
Absolutely not.
You should be.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, but you should be.
Absolutely not. Are the people, the Jewish businessmen that led me to that place, are they sorry for the way they've raped my people?
I don't know who you're talking about in particular, but I don't know why you keep having to say they're Jewish. What does the fact they're Jewish got to do with anything? Why do you keep doing that?
What do you mean? They're the Jewish businessmen that did that because
they're business people.
That's what they did.
Why do you keep saying Jewish business people? Why do you keep using their religion, their ethnicity? Why do you keep doing that?
Let me update it then. Okay, so I'll say this. Would I have grown into the box you want me to go on if I say to specify the business people that have raped my people that just so happen to be Jewish?
I think by doing what you've just done, I find that I'm not even Jewish and I find that offensive. Why do you keep having to do that? I don't think you get it at all. I don't think you understand the offense you're causing when you keep using their religious background, their ethnicity, as,
So
as a stick to beat them with. Why would you do that?
So what are you more concerned about? Getting the richest black man of all time to kowtow? Because it's not going to happen.
I don't want you to kowtow. You can do what the hell you like. You're a billionaire. You can do what the hell you want. I'm just saying to you that I don't think you quite understand when you talk about. Okay, can I finish?
It's not multi.
You're a multi-billionaire. Okay, well, congratulations. But that doesn't change the fact that when you insult the Jewish people and say you're going DEFCON 3 on the Jewish people, that is as racist as anything you say you've been through and any pain that you've experienced. It's the same thing. Racism is racism. And you know that, I think, don't you?
Yeah, obviously. That's why I said it.
So you said it knowing it's racist?
Yes. I fought fire with fire.
Okay.
I'm not here to get hosed down.
At least that's
It's a
honest.
different type of freedom fighter.
That's honest. All right. You were racist because you knew it was racist, but you decided to do that because people have been racist to you. Is that your position?
No, I'm not. First of all, I can't. What is the beginning? Read the whole tweet. I'm sure you have it in front of it. Somebody in your office has it. Get him a coffee and a yay tweet.
What do you want to know? The whole tweet?
I want you to read it out loud, sir.
I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew. Also, you guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who opposes your agenda. That was the exact tweet.
I like reading that whole thing. I can't be anti-Semite. I love Jewish people. I work with Jewish people. Yo, watch this. Watch this. Some of my best friends are Jewish.
Right. So you know how that sounds.
How many times have you heard that statement?
Of course. Of course.
Wait. Have we ever heard that term before? But the funny thing is, they are. I work with Dove Charney that got kicked out of his company, out of American Apparel. I work with this guy every day. He's like my twin. He's one of my favorite people in the planet. And we work through that and we talk through it. And he says, "Yay, why are you so mad?" And I'm like, this is why I'm mad. This contract right here, what's gonna happen before I'm done, we're gonna open up all of the music industry contracts, all of the publishing deals, all of the athlete deals, all of the acting deals, all of the mortgages, all of the deals.
But that's fine. But yeah, that's all fine.
Business people who we went at.
That's all fine. You can do all that.
But it has to start somewhere.
Of course you can do all that. And when you do that,
it has to start somewhere.
I hope you won't be judged as a black business person doing it all the time. That people don't phrase it all the time by the color of your skin, but by your business acumen. Isn't that what you would like? Isn't that what equality actually means?
Of course I'll be judged by that, because when people come into power, people get judged. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nobody that gets judged more than a straight white male. The straight white male has the least amount of a platform to even speak. A straight white male can't say, "My wife hurt me today," and because people will say, "Well, you're hurting women." A straight white male can't say, "Hey, a black employee didn't come in to work on time," because then people will say you're racist. A straight white male can't speak on a homosexual person because they'll say you're homophobic. And so I empathize with the position of the straight white male. And part of the reason why I empathize with that position is because I know that I'm headed to that position. And what position that is? Top power position.
Okay.
That's the top power position where you get all the rocks thrown. And
Okay.
that's the thing. I have friends, right, that will actually that's the reason why I'm going to be a good leader someday, because I'm really empathetic. But I call black people out on their stuff. I call white people out on their stuff, because we're all people. We're actually only one species. And in order to, whether it's my friends texting me like, "Bro, you got to get in the gym. You're looking chubby in the photo." It's like we have to hold each other accountable to what's actually happening. And it's so much is based on you did that tweet wrong. So what I will say is, I feel that my words demand more sensitivity for the frequency that I'm operating at and and the amount of people that I'm communicating to. And I take that responsibility right now. But I will also say everything happens for a reason. because if it had been perfectly worded in English, and because there's nothing whiter than English itself, right? I'm already not speaking in my mother tongue, right? So if I had perfectly worded it in the most sensitive way, then we wouldn't be here right now. Now we're opening up the conversation. Like I'm not allowed to say whether or not I'm running for office in 2024, but I'll tell you what, if the left, let's say the left would have never supported me anyway. And now I've got to call to attention, I am who you should support. The left did not allow Trump to be president. They treated him like he wasn't even the president. So even then he won, he was losing half of the American people every day, and it divided the country. What I'm saying, whoever goes into office, for British media, for American media, we must support our leaders and not just run this hyper negative. You know what I will? And black people hate when I apologize for this. When I see people like John Legend and Chrissy Teigen talk down on the president, I'm like, wow, that kind of sounds like me. That kind of sounds like the telethon. I opened up this level of disrespect towards our leaders. And people were happy. And the left saw that and say, well, let's just have every celebrity do what Ye did at the telethon. So I take responsibility for that moment. And you know what? I just want to give every Jewish person a big hug. Also, I'm envious of the Jewish people. I'm envious of how they don't abort their children. I'm envious of how they don't shoot each other in the streets and then rap about it. I'm envious of how their families stay together. I'm envious that they turn their phones off on Friday night and the family comes together. I'm envious of how they do the business together. And I want that for the darker Jews. I want that for the black people. I want that. We need that. God said we should remove the word want, right?
Okay.
We're going to have that.
Okay.
And this is the beginning of it.
But it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that you are acknowledging, as you've just acknowledged that it was wrong to say what you said about President Bush when he said he doesn't care about black people, and that may have encouraged all this disrespect towards presidents since. I think it's an interesting point you made. It does seem to me, Ye, talking to you, that even if it's hard for you to admit this, that you do regret the wording of that tweet which caused all the problems, and you wouldn't phrase it that way again. Am I right?
I would tell my dad that. My dad loved the White Lives Matter t-shirt because what audacity does a black man have to wear the exact same t-shirt that a white man could wear? You know, and my dad was a Black Panther. I mean, we have a water purification center. You know, he's like the original Steve Jobs. Right. He's the educated version of me, right? And he liked both of those things, but he said, you know, Ye, he even calls me Ye now. He's like, Ye, you've got to be more sophisticated with your wording. And that wording, like I said, I'm a bit sleepy. And it lacked the sophistication needed to be the true conductor that I am. Because it's the conductor's job to bring people together. And that was divisive, right, which is not who I want to be.
Right. So
so I'll tell you that. I'm not looking, and also let me put out right now.
So it sounds like you agree with me. Do you agree with me then?
I want to talk. Okay, let me say that I'm just thinking right now. What's on my heart is the idea for people who do actually have severe mental health issues. You know, the word retarded. For, you know, there's parents that have children who actually are mentally ill, and that word is really offensive, right, to those people.
So why use it?
And just because I was feeling well, it's a couple reasons. Because people call me retarded. They treat me like I'm retarded. And so I embrace it. It's like you call somebody a so much, they say, I'm. You call somebody a bitch so much, they say, I'm a bitch. You call somebody a retarded so much, you say, I'm retarded. Like, I was exhausted, and I embraced the idea of having a serious mental health issue. But Noah also, but Moses was basically on speed when he was doing what he did.
Let me ask you,
by the way,
look, out of interest, yeah, how much sleep do you get a night?
I'm not here to talk about how much sleep I get. I don't owe you that.
Literally just been talking about
how much sleep do you get a night?
I had about 5.5 hours last night, actually. Not very much. But you're the one that's raised this issue.
And I probably had the same.
Right. My question is only
I probably
because
had the same, but
it's only because you've been talking about you don't believe you have a mental illness. You think it's lack of sleep. So I think it's an obvious question to ask, well, how much sleep do you get? Are you constantly sleep deprived? Is that one of the reasons perhaps sometimes, as you say, you feel sleepy and you shoot from the hip verbally and you say stuff that maybe when you're rested, you wouldn't say it the same way? Would that be fair?
Tell me what's... Okay, no, it's not fair, because what's more important, the pain and the truth of what I'm talking about and what led me to that tweet, or the tweet itself?
I think both can be true.
Because
the problem you have is, I think you've acknowledged...
You have one tweet.
I think you've acknowledged that the wording of the tweet was offensive.
Years.
Yes, I understand, but you know the damage it caused, and I
understand that was offensive.
And I think that you have accepted
The
you probably shouldn't have phrased it that way. You as a white person are so stuck on the idea that what I said was offensive, which is a very caring approach. You're not sticking on the fact. You have not unpacked what happened with those contracts. I've said that, but you didn't ask me another question about it. That means there's an agenda. Absolutely not.
Inside of your platform.
I have repeatedly said to you that I'm sure I do not disbelieve that you've had contract business issues with various managers, accountants, and so on. My argument is that when you do it,
me or other me's.
I'm sure many other artists in the music business. Yeah, of course.
You know why you're sure? Because you don't care to do the research because it doesn't affect you.
No, it's because you said.
Have you done any research?
No. Yeah, let me explain to you. I'm not doubting what you're saying.
You don't care.
I do care.
You don't care about me. You don't care about my people. I care about me. I care about my people. So it's for me to stand up. And God forbid I step on someone's toes while I'm at it.
It's not someone's toes. You stepped on the entire Jewish people's toes with a very deeply inflammatory tweet, which I think you've now accepted. You shouldn't have phrased that way. It's taken a bit of time to get there, but I think you have accepted that, right?
Have you accepted that you've put no effort into understanding how I got there?
I don't think, honestly,
10 years from now.
Honestly, I don't think there is any...
You're going to apologize to me about this interview.
I'm not.
You're going to apologize to me about this interview within the next 10 years.
No, I'm not, because here's the thing.
Mark my words.
I don't doubt you've had...
It's very one-sided.
No, it's not.
It's very white-sided.
Oh, come on,
It's very one-sided. It's very like...
It's not white-sided. I'm not doubting you've had business issues. I'm saying the way to respond to that is not to go public to millions of people and say you're going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people.
Millions of people. Millions of people have had DEFCON 3